Here we go. All right. Okay. Well, we'll get started here. So this is the webinar for GReminders and CurrentClient. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll kind of go through some slides here. So let me start with some introductions here. I've got Dustin Belliston from CurrentClient, his founder and CEO. Say hello, Dustin.
Hey everyone, thanks for having us.
You got myself, founder and CEO of GReminders, and then we should have Sean Peters from Christian Financial joining us to talk a little bit about how these systems work together. So what I first want to do is I want to talk a little bit about GReminders, what it is, and also how the CurrentClient integration sort of plays into what we do. And then Dustin will talk a little bit about CurrentClient, its sort of unified communication platform. And then we'll show you kind of what the integration looks like and sort of how it plays. And then we can have some time for Q&A. Generally, we'll try to keep this to maybe 40 minutes, somewhere in that range. Okay, so let's start with what is GReminders for those that are new to it or don't know. So we're effectively the only AI-powered meeting management platform built for financial advisors. And I'm going to talk about what meeting management platform means in sort of a more kind of holistic sense. So we'll get to that in a second. First, I want to say we are fully dedicated to wealth management and financial advisors and financial professionals. That is really all we do. We have been approved and work with a lot of the firms that you see on your screen: Mosaic, Cetera, Cambridge, Kestra, and so on and so forth. We work with thousands, literally thousands and thousands of financial advisors on a daily basis. So everything we do, we really do through AI and automations. And really, this is a big efficiency play on your productivity as a whole, right? So if you look at so this is Kitts has put out a survey, Michael Kitts has put out a survey a couple of years ago that really analyzed like where financial advisors spend their time. And this is per client per year. They spend a lot of time in meeting prep, client meetings, meeting follow-ups, and so forth. Again, per client per year. And these are really the 4 areas that GReminders helps with: meeting prep, meeting follow-up, client check-ins, and client correspondence. And when we ran a survey against our customer base, we really saw about a 45% reduction in these categories. And if you do some simple math here, if you have one advisor running about 100 clients, you're saving about 6 hours per year per client, is a very, very meaningful impact to the productivity of the advisor as well as the firm. And as a result, really, you can take that time and put it against growth and growing AUM and growing revenue. So I talked a little bit about meeting management platform. Let me talk about what that means and what that is, right? So we look at everything through the lens of a meeting lifecycle. And so it starts with understanding the cadence that you have with your clients when you're reaching out, email, SMS, to actually get them to book their performance review, right? Could be annually, could be biannually, quarterly, what have you. We have an enterprise class scheduling system. We send out SMS and email notifications to make sure they have to show up to the meeting. We kick off workflows within your system of record, CRM, different engagement systems. We have a pre-meeting brief product that gets you better prepared for the meeting. You actually have the meeting, note taker, which then summaries, action items, all back to your system of record, and then help with email follow-ups. And if you just sort of generally kind of look at the market as a whole, you see it's sort of fragmented. You have some scheduling products, you have some sort of middleware products, and then you have some note taker products. And you can buy all those independently if you'd like, or you can do that all within the GReminders platform, all in one is kind of the way we think about it. So like a smaller tech stack is inherently better because of less moving parts. And if you can see here, I've got a couple icons for CurrentClient here. This is kind of where the CurrentClient integration really takes effect. when we go and reach out to your clients to say, hey, John, it's time for your biannual review, we could send out a text message, for example. They click on a link, they would schedule, and they get onto your calendar. We also would send a notification to make sure they actually show up to the meeting, right? You've got a meeting coming up, Monday, 9 o'clock, that sort of thing. And then when you're actually having the meeting, could be over phone calls or something of that nature. This is also where you're having a call with over CurrentClient phone conversation. And again, we're pushing those to note taker, and again, pushing all those back to your system of record. So that's kind of how some of that stuff comes together. We try to integrate with as many systems as you have today within your technology stack. So we probably integrate with 35 or 40 different systems. So basically everything that you have in your tech stack today. We also very much focus, as I said, on integrations and deeply integrating with the systems that are mentioned there, right? And so not just doing sort of a single sign-on thing, but as our group recognized us to have a very deep sort of integration score relative to some of the peers that you see out there. So just walk you through a few of these things. So again, here's sort of where we're reaching out, getting clients to actually schedule a call with you. Again, fully automated, right? Reaching into your CRM, figuring out the cadence that you have, getting them to book either over by email or SMS. Once they click, they get into the scheduling, they click. We support all different types of scheduling scenarios or situations. It could be different offices. It could be different locations. It could be a team of advisors that might take an introductory call. All kinds of different sort of scenarios are supported. And you can also embed this stuff in your website. So you can put scheduling widgets and even ask questions, embed those sort of in your site. So if you want to take an introductory call, maybe you want to qualify the prospect to make sure that they meet certain thresholds. And then once they book, you can actually launch workflows within different systems like Redtail, Wealthbox, Hubly, PreciseFP, et cetera, et cetera. So again, deeply integrated with sort of all the workflow and engagement tools that you might use. Once they book, we make sure that they show up, right? So we send out SMS notifications. And again, this is where the CurrentClient integration takes place. And you're sending it from the CurrentClient phone number that everybody sort of trusts, right? It's because that's where they're essentially getting their messages today. We also support some auto replies. So if somebody replies, you get a checkbox in the calendar. So it's kind of nice to see that something has happened there. And they can do some basic responses. And again, with the CurrentClient integration, you can have a full conversation, right? This is just part of the messaging stream. Same applies for reschedules. So if you move something on a calendar, say you move it on Outlook or something to that effect, you can very easily move it. Again, it would send out a notification. Hey, we moved your event. Does this work for you? No. Go ahead and click on here to reschedule. So there's lots of different sort of, again, automations to help you manage your meeting time better. And then there's also places where you can sort of indicate if something was a no-show or something got completed. But if you are doing the call through CurrentClient, for example, we would automatically mark things as complete because we know that it happened. Again, deeply integrated. Everything gets journaled back to your system of record. So in this case, it's CRM, but we also have various compliance digests and all kinds of things to make sure that everything is journaled and archived to make sure that you're within the FINRA compliance rules. Typically, what happens before the meeting, you will receive a pre-meeting brief. So this is an example of all the things that have happened since the last time you met with your client, right? And so this scans things like emails, CRM notes, all kinds of things, all kinds of data elements, essentially, that we're connected to. It can have access to documents, right? So if you hook up things like SharePoint or Box or other types of systems, you can generate data from there. From the pre-meeting brief, you can actually generate a client presentation, right? It's literally a PowerPoint that gets generated from all of the data since the last time you met with them. With literally one click, people are saving hours and hours and hours when it comes to pre-meeting prep type activities. Have additional questions, you can ask effectively, you can ask the chat, right? It's very similar to maybe what you use ChatGPT or some other type of system. You can see here, you can basically ask any questions against all of the data that is connected to our system. That's CRM, that's documents, that's email data, financial planning data, and so on and so forth. You can even have it create a task for you, for example, in your CRM. In this case, we're asking it about a trust. You can see that right here. And we're asking it, hey, can you summarize this trust document for me? And it's doing it just like that. So really, really simple way to get data, extract data out of all the different systems that you have. And with a single click, you can click into it and see sort of what's going on here. So again, very easy to sort of get the data that you need. And again, it powers all of the things like the pre-meeting briefs and different sort of pre-meeting prep stuff that is useful to you. When you're actually in the meeting, we're effectively taking a transcript of all the things that are said in the meeting. This works with in-person meetings, so we have a mobile application. Also works with any virtual meetings like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and so forth, and as well as voice over IP systems, particularly CurrentClient, right? So you have a CurrentClient call, any inbound, outbound call, automatically going to get pushed to NoteTaker. Everything is branded as yours. We try to sit in the background. It's really white label as much as possible. And then after the meeting, you're effectively getting a summary of all the things that have happened in the meeting. Everything is effectively customizable. You can see here we've got the full summary within our application. You've got a full transcript of everything that was said, who said it, when they said it. If you have additional questions, you can ask effectively. You can ask against the transcript. Everything is always referenced back to the source, so you know that the sort of AI isn't just going rogue. From here, typically what you do is you look at the summary, you can review it, you can make some changes if you'd like, and then you effectively would push it back into your system of record. We support all different types of CRMs. In this case, we're pushing into Redtail. Excuse me. We support Wealthbox, Salesforce, Smart Office, HubSpot, any of the Practify, Accelerate, really any of the overlays on Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, you name it. And then we also help you with email follow-ups as well, right? So 30 seconds after the meeting, in your drafts folder, you can either review the draft here, or you can have the draft literally sitting in your Outlook, waiting for you to send. And these are recommended workflows that are suggested effectively after the meeting based on the contents of the call. And here we're pushing the workflow, or we're triggering the workflow so that the workflow triggers, again, within your system of record. And lastly, here's an opportunity that was recommended based on what was talked about in the call, so like a home purchasing plan. And you can essentially create that opportunity within the CRM, which again helps you with KPIs and different types of tracking to see if you're actually tracking AUM growth. Action items are also recommended based on the meeting, and those action items again are pushed back into your system of record, and you have different staff members take action against those particular tasks. Something we introduced recently, which is sort of a nice to have, very easy to take a piece of a sort of a nugget that you might have heard on a call, anonymize it, and share that to, let's say, LinkedIn or social media, right? Literally one click, you can review it and push it out as a way to sort of do some thought leadership within social media. You can give it some examples, right? These are examples, so it's written in your style and your tone. And again, it's one click, super easy to push out to LinkedIn, for example. And again, it sort of helps on the thought leadership side. Everything we do is fully customizable. We are completely open. All the prompts, all the instructions, everything that you see within the system is 100% customizable. You can do this yourself, or you can work with our customer success team to customize those types of things for the different types of meetings, or the different types of pre-meeting briefs, or the different types of email summaries, or social posts that you may want to do. All meetings are auto-completed based on note taker joining. So if you have a Zoom meeting or a current client meeting or something like that, again, all auto-completed. Again, you can report on who showed, who didn't show, which meetings completed, which meetings didn't, et cetera, et cetera. So this is kind of an overview of super high level of kind of what we do and why we exist. It's really, in our opinion, it is really supercharging and making advisors sort of superhuman. So with that, I will turn this over to Dustin, and we'll come back and look at the integration shortly.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I think something you said at the very beginning, was just this is what you focus on, is this vertical, the financial advisors. And so maybe just taking a really high level view, I think the market is still, I think the camps that I think people are in is one, general purpose software can kind of adapt and be flexible enough to still effectively serve verticals. I think the other camp is there's a breaking up of these big monolith, like big, massive general purpose software. And what we're seeing is very like more targeted, niche focused, vertical SaaS. And so I think this is a really good example. Like Calendly, it's very general purpose. They don't ever, no one on the developer team or the product team over at Calendly wakes up and thinks, how do I help with surge meetings, right? Or how do I help, an advisor move from getting a client on a meeting and making sure they show up? Like I think it's just a very clear example of solving for one industry. And I think that's the camp I'm in. And to kind of tee that up for CurrentClient, that's where the kinship here with GReminders, I think, is very natural. Like what we are building is a phone system, think texting, calling, like these traditional things that you would have gone, and bought a general purpose, option. And what we're doing is we're bringing it back to the industry and saying, hey, we want to wake up every day and think like, how does the phone, calls, texting, this communication, like how is it different for financial advisors versus like a call center or, an enterprise, company, or, a jewelry store, that's on Main Street. And I think it is different. And so let me share my screen and I'll show you a couple of the highlights on how we are coming to the industry and saying, hey, we've got something very specific for you. Pop this open here. We are, as you would expect, we are a phone app. So when I say phone app, I mean you can do calls, so you can call people and you can text. It's a phone number that is dedicated for your business or your firm. And that is like the backbone of what the CurrentClient platform is. And there's a few things I just want to touch on real quick. I want to touch on archiving. Obviously, that's very important for our industry, making sure all of your written communication gets archived appropriately. I want to show you the depth of integration we have with the CRMs that you're using. And then I'll highlight a little bit of the inbox and kind of tee up how the integration is going to look like with GReminders. So once you log into Current Client, you'd see this dashboard here. And the first thing we want to do is set up archiving. So we're just going to jump into the settings here, come down to Archiver, and we are going to help you, with the relationship you have. If you have an existing archiver, we're going to help you set that up. You can see we've developed relationships with nearly all the archivers, all the major ones at least. And if you have some bespoke one, we're always happy to engage with you on that. What this does is basically in the background, once you set this up, your chief compliance officer, or if you're, a solo or a small firm and you are the advisor and the compliance officer, you set this up and you just don't have to think about it. It's just going to run in the background, and we're going to funnel all of the text messages that you send through the current client platform over to that archiver, co-locating it with all the other channels, getting you the supervision and the retention you need over there. Once you set up the archiving, then we would connect your CRM, and we support Wealthbox, Redtail, Salesforce, and the overlays with Salesforce, and Slant is a new integration we just launched last month. Once you connect your CRM, there's a couple things that are going to happen. Every day, we're going to fully sync your CRM contacts with down into current client. And when we sync, we don't just bring over like a name and a number. It's not like lightweight, the service level. Like we'll go as deep as you need us to go. So we'll definitely bring over their name, their phone numbers, their household information, which is pretty unique. Inside Wealthbox, we'll even preserve visibility settings. So if you have a teams and users over on Wealthbox, and certain people can see certain clients, all of that is preserved down into our integration, which is pretty unique with us. And then also any tags that they have, or their contact status, or their type, any custom fields, we can bring that into. Once you integrate with Wealthbox or Redtail or Slant or whatever CRM it is, that just hums in the background. You just set it up once. You don't have to do Zapier. You don't have to like pay for another service to connect it. We take that on and we will steward that connection for you and just make sure that things are staying in sync. Once you do that, now you've got your archiving solved for, you've got a phone, this communication app that is deeply connected with your CRM. Then you can start texting, calling, and interacting. So the way we set it up is you're going to have phone numbers. You can label those. So it's pretty often to have like an office line, like a main line that people are calling, that you put on your website. And then you might have a direct line. That might be like advisor specific. These are fully permissionable. So you could just, jump into the settings, go to phone numbers, and you can decide who has access on your team to each inbox. That gives you also the ability, if you've got a team, where multiple people are collaborating on one number, you can do that. If you want people to be able to monitor someone else's so they can fill in when they're going on vacation, you can do that. Very easy just to take these numbers and the people in your firm and just match to the permissions that you need, allowing you to collaborate and work together. Once you're in an inbox, really simple. You've got the conversations with your clients. Some of the feedback we get is that this is just very approachable. It's a pretty easy sort of layout to understand. Here's my number. Here's the conversation I'm having with the client. And then you got all of the text messages, back and forth, and the call history right here, with the Wealthbox data kind of coming, to the front of the app here with any existing notes they have in the CRM, tasks, events, and their contact details. You can jump into your CRM contact just with a click of a button, get over there. Now you're doing the CRM things over here. I'll just call out real quick. We do have other kind of more advanced features. Once people get comfortable with this, we can do like mass text. So if you want to send out, hey, we got a meeting coming up, surge meeting coming up, like let's get everyone scheduled for, their reviews. You could send a mass text with your GReminders booking link and invite them, to get on the calendar. And you could send out 100 of those, 200, and you can segment and just say, hey, send this to our active clients that haven't booked yet. It's like very, very easy to just get this message out and then get them into that GReminders full meeting lifecycle funnel that A just ran through. We can also do some automations around like sending birthday texts and anniversary reminders. This is a pretty flexible system where we can use the CRM data just to queue these things up for you, get them scheduled, you then review before they actually go out, making it really safe to turn on. Then just to tee up, what you're going to show, when a text goes out from the GReminders connection, we will show that that text message was GReminders with a link back to the event. And then also, if a call gets pushed over, we will also preserve that this call recording was sent over to GReminders with a really easy button just to open up right over to that meeting as well. So yeah, just to recap, this is phone communication focused solely on financial advisors, focused deeply with archiving, integrations, like ease of use with team collaboration, allowing firms to get out of silos and get on the same page. And then with some of the automations allows us to just get on front of moving things forward with clients rather than just reacting all the time. So if you want to jump in and show the full cycle and the integration, we could do that now.
Yeah, thank you, Dustin. That was great. Really appreciate the overview here. I learned a couple things here too. Sean, maybe you can talk a little bit about kind of introduce yourself, and I know you've been using sort of both
Sure.
systems and the platforms and so forth, and just maybe talk about your background and maybe some of your experience here.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, thanks for having me. For first-time panelist, but long-time GReminder and CurrentClient user. My background, I've been in the financial services investment management industry and licensed for about 11 years now in total. That started in 2008. I started with the firm that I'm at now until 2013, and then came back in early 2020. And then in between there, I was actually in website development, app development, digital marketing, and just other stuff that kind of connects to that. So got a lot of experience in that particular area. And so I do, as a licensed advisor, I do come with a little bit different of a perspective when I'm looking at software and services and basically just our tech stack. And so it's been really fun though, with our team, even though we're a smaller team, getting to really kind of focus on how can we use technology to be more efficient, to do more with a small team. And the goal has always been not to remove the human connection, but hey, what are ways that we can use our tech stack to be more efficient and do things that don't necessarily have to be done by a person sitting there, and be able to spend more time with clients, be able to spend more time, taking people out to lunch, things like that. And I can definitely say hands down, GReminders, CurrentClient, both individually and now with more and more of the really great connections, definitely have been part of that. Say hands down, hard to pick a favorite, but I would say at least you guys are my two favorite tech stack items that we've been able to use. And so my only real complaint, I guess, is that I didn't find either of you guys sooner than I did when I came back in 2020, but it is what it is. We're here now. I love it. The only other thing that I'll say is I know it's hard to do this, but I would like to see a little bit more documentation as soon as y'all are able to, because you have so many great features already. Like even when I first signed up, you've both continued to improve, continued to expand. And honestly, even with me being mostly focused on this, I still feel like, man, I missed some gold in these hills. Many times I learned multiple things on GReminders and CurrentClient just in this webinar, of just, oh sweet, they made some improvements to that. That's awesome. Didn't realize that. So as far as what we're using it, from GReminder side, we have all of our appointments go through GReminders. And so I am aware that you can technically have, if there are events on your connected calendar, that you can still use GReminders in the events, but at least for us to try to kind of control the ways and some of the information we'd like to collect for like an initial consultation, sales meeting, as well as client appointments. We do have it run through actually booking directly into the GReminders system. And so phenomenal, love it. We use the custom fields for a lot of stuff. The phone call reminders versus the text message. The implementation that we actually have is a combination of like a web form, we use Gravity Forms, but a web form on our website where we collect some of that additional information. There's some conditional fields and things like that we'll collect. And then the step 2, at least what the client thinks, step 2 passes all of that over to the next page. And then we're using the JavaScript embed option that you guys have. And basically I just take the information from the URL parameters to pass down into that JavaScript embed. And then that way, hey, they click the date, time, and, hit submit, and most of the stuff is already, it's basically already filled out. But that just, again, kind of helps us once it gets through and into GReminders, we have a little bit more information and stuff in there that we can then use and reference when stuff comes through. Workflows are phenomenal. The only problem I have is not a GReminders thing, but it's more of it's hard as a small team to find time. Like, okay, let's make our workflows a little bit better on the Wealthbox side so we can actually use them better and trigger them to actually activate when stuff is coming through of certain appointment types, or when you mark stuff as completed. That's another one that I really love, is the disposition completed versus, like a no-show. And so we have our Net Promoter Score review funnel kind of a thing that when we do mark them as complete for certain meeting types from GReminders, we then have something go out and ask people like, hey, we'd love to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you be to refer us? And it's helpful because since it's coming from the GReminder side, we can include in that it's a unique link, and it pre-fills the hidden fields with their name, email, phone number, and then the ID from Wealthbox. And so that's, again, just really helpful to make it as simple as possible for the client. And then on our side, well, you just mark it as complete or no show. Like that's it. So really helpful. The meetings, the AI note taker. I mean, again, that thing you just keep getting better with it. It's phenomenal. Okay, yeah. So I probably don't have like an hour to talk about it, but lots of great things. GReminders, love it. It has helped our team so much, and I could see how it would apply whether you're a solo practitioner, you've got a small team, maybe 5 people, or you got 30, 50 people. It's absolutely should be part of people's tech stack. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Sean, like you touched on like the hardest thing is like a innovator and someone that's pushing out new stuff is as soon as you document it, tomorrow it's outdated, and it's like it's hard to go back and make sure there. But I appreciate that, and I think
so I'm giving y'all grace. I'm not mad. It's more of like, oh no, but I'm missing the cool new stuff because now I'm trying to figure out like, wait, how do I get this one? Oh wait, I can do this with it, but I didn't realize that. I kind of had to trial and error, or I ask you guys like, hey, what's going on with this? Go, oh, we can actually do the A, B, and C. Well, that was more than I was even looking for. Great.
Yeah. No,
so
you're
and both of y'all,
right there.
GReminders and CurrentClient are great with that.
Yeah.
So
100% though. You're exactly right. It's tough.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
On the CurrentClient. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sure thing. On the CurrentClient side, we had been using MyRepChat prior to switching to CurrentClient. And just for the business texting, we've been using. Am I allowed to mention the name of the phone system we're using? Because we're not quite there yet, but we're very close.
You can just keep it generic.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. Another phone system. But we switched from MyRepChat for the texting to CurrentClient, and it's been an amazing experience. Dustin and his whole team, like it's rare that I've come across this over the years. And again, this is a GReminders and CurrentClient thing, but to see the pace of development that you guys are able to continue to improve, release brand new features, not just like you're improving some existing features, but yet still roll out really polished products like from day one. I get it. Sometimes there's like some bugs, but I mean, it has been very rarely that it didn't actually work or seem to work like as intended. And then also have great customer service. Like I'm used to like pick 2. You can't have all 3, but like pick 2. Do you want us to build stuff quickly? Do you want us to have good customer service? Do you want us to build it well the first time? And both of y'all's teams are able to do all 3 consistently, which is very much appreciated. So on CurrentClient with the phone system, that's definitely where I'm excited because from what I've been seeing, I mean, even just within the last 60 days, like we're like this close to like, oh great, finally I can switch over our phone system to CurrentClient as well. Because just there's so, you had touched on it where you're showing the like, oh, keep respecting the different teams from Wealthbox, for example, because we use Wealthbox, and and all the custom fields and being able to see that information. And I would love to live in the current client inbox for all of our calls and texts because of that integration with Wealthbox. And it's not that your phone system isn't great. It's just for us, we have some stuff with the direct dial numbers and extensions. And then we have different teams, people, even though we're a smaller team, but we have different groups of people of who's supposed to be handling, client calls coming in or sales calls and other people. But it's like, man, I can't believe how much over really just the last year that it seemed to have gone from, you can make and receive calls on CurrentClient to, we basically have a full business phone system plus 10 other features that I hadn't even thought of that are like, well, now that I've seen them, I don't want anything else. I mean, the contact matching that you have as one of the options for the incoming dial plan is amazing. That's probably one of the most exciting things for me about switching over for the phone system and be able to make it seem like when a client calls that we have no auto attendant. Like there is no phone menu. Oh, I call in and you guys answer. Like, well, yeah, it was just some magic behind the scenes. So, and in both systems, again, I feel like my only problem is with as much time as I spend on tech, I still don't feel like I'm getting to fully use all of the stuff that you guys have. Like I'm happy with the stuff we're doing, but I just keep finding that's phenomenal. I want to use that too. I mean, So I mean, and I love the rollout recently of having that direct connection. Where okay, great. Now all of the texting that's going out is going through the same system, through the same number, gets pushed over to Wealthbox. I definitely love that new feature. So
yeah, I think you kind of like try to chew on something, ingest it, figure it out, and then you just layer, right? I think that's a really natural way, and I think you've been really smart to do it that way. So yeah, you've been awesome.
Otherwise, the drink from the fire hose.
There we go. Yeah. So
thanks for the comments, Sean. That's great. So I definitely appreciate the pace that I think a lot of organizations are running at, especially, given AI and so forth. I mean, it's running faster and faster, and it is hard. It is absolutely hard to keep up. And I empathize with that. I mean, just, for what it's worth, if you look at like this is sort of our release log here. You can see here in the latest, and you can see the pace which stuff is sort of being released, and it does take effort to understand what's going on here, if it's applicable and so forth. So I realize that there's work there. We do have, for what it's worth, I think we do every quarter. We do product webinar updates. So I encourage folks to join there. And then also from our side, at least, we do every Friday we do office hours for 2 hours. Anybody can join. So worth participating to the extent that you have time.
Both teams keep up what you're doing.
Go ahead.
I would say both teams, y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I just want to touch on a couple things. So Dustin had showed you kind of what that looks like. What messages look like within the current client interface when they get sent, and then pushing a call recording over to us. I just wanted to show you here. So this is within the GReminders app. When you build a text reminder, for example, so if we're building a new one here, we're saying send a reminder, 24 hours prior to the start time. We're going to do it over text. Of course, you can choose email and different modalities here. But if you're doing it from text, you can essentially, rather than using sort of the GReminders base toll-free number, you can effectively use the current client number. And so the way that you connect is you come over here, click on your picture, click on integrations, go find current client in the list. I already have this connected, and simply connect. It's literally click, log in with your current client credentials. It's connected. Once that happens, you will find your current client phone number here effectively, and you can customize, what this text says. Obviously, you can preview it. You can send it, send yourself a preview to your own number. And it's simply going to use that number, and it's going to show up in the current client number messages, just like you would, sending a text manually, but it is automated. And so this works here as well as sort of in the bulk send area. The other thing, when you push a current client call, so come here to the current client interface. If I have a call here, there's a very simple button here that send to GReminders. And I've added GReminders as an integration in the integration section of current client already. So I literally just click the button and it's pushing it over, and that's it. Once that's complete, I'm going to click over here. You will find this where you will find all the rest of your calls and meetings. So this is an example. Here's the meeting that I had a couple of days ago. And here you've got the transcript, the summary, all of the same stuff that you would expect through, be it Zoom, Microsoft Teams, mobile app, et cetera, same summary, same workflow recommendations, same opportunity suggestions, as well as tasks. And again, those can sync directly back to your CRM or to we support other, so we support like Hubly, for example, and other systems as well beyond just the CRM. So
fantastic.
Go ahead.
I would say that's fantastic. But sorry. Yeah.
So that hopefully that gives you a little sense of what the current client and GReminders integration looks like. If you want more information about it, go to this article we have posted here. If you are a current GReminders customer and you want to find more about current client, go there. If you're a current client customer and you want to find more about us, go to our website. I'm going to open it up for, I don't know, do we have any questions that we can answer or things that came through? Feel free to put it in the chat. Happy to have anybody answer those.
We did have one question that was just asking if this recording will be sent out after, and it will, along with these links. So you guys will have access to that once it's done processing and we can get it sent out.
Yeah. Another one that people have been asking is, can we just automatically feed the calls over to GReminders? And yeah, that will be part of a next phase of an improvement on the integration. Is once the call is done with current client, we can just toss it over to GReminders and you'll see the exact same sort of meeting prep and summary and transcript over there. So eventually it's just a manual push right now. So you just push the important ones over. Eventually we can just automatically do that. And then GReminders has a nice focus view where the most important kind of calls and meetings sort of like get funneled into like a focus pane that you can really see. And so it doesn't clutter too much over there. So that was just something that has come up on our side a lot.
I have a question, if I may. I don't know if anyone else was thinking it when you said that, but when you add the option for the automatically sending the calls over, will there be an option for, basically you have the option to say if you want to turn it on or not turn it on? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. It's like, if you're like, oh yeah, let me connect GReminders and let me just keep a manual push, great, you can do that. But if you're like, oh, just feed it all over there and just run, that will be like a toggle on our side and we'll dictate how we behave on that. Yeah.
I only asked because we had the phone system that will not be named, but there was basically an automatic call option. But the problem that we were having is it was literally every call. So like our internal calls to each other, it was recording those and then transcribing it. Then some were called, like I called my wife from the office phone, and I'm like, well, I don't really want that being recorded. So I don't know, one suggestion, but what would be nice is if there was a way to say, maybe after you roll this out, but have an option to say, hey, I want to automatically transcribe any call, like if it matches a meeting, or like it was, I don't know, it'd be like around the same time or something like that. I don't know if I know in the GReminder side that you can click like join a call, for example. I don't know how that connected with CurrentClient. Not
Yeah.
sure if there's a way
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
that
we
if you
could.
forgot to join from GReminders.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could do some smart filtering and logic around what we send over. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we do, just for what it's worth, is I mean, there are meeting types and meeting categories that are defined typically from the CRM, but also we are actually on our side, we're actually doing our own categorization. So we have a whole list of sort of different types, subtypes, and based on the contents of what is talked about, it's actually doing classification for you. And those things can be used to define which type of templates are used to drive the summaries, but then also like what can automatically be pushed back to the CRM and what can't. So, right. So there's different. So AI has gotten really great at sort of, classifying and categorizing things. And so we're effectively leveraging that to fulfill some sort of downstream workflows.
Hey, just as an idea, one more suggestion, maybe since obviously we know AI sometimes can make mistakes, but you always see that anytime you're chatting with one of them. But one thing that might be helpful is, well, maybe since GReminders has the integration with the CRM and CurrentClient has the integration with the CRM, maybe, I don't know, the GReminder side that you set something up to where you say for certain contact types or certain contact categories that you have something that you basically say, hey, whenever there's a call, whenever, with one of these contact types for a contact, go ahead and just exclude it. Like you don't need to don't just transcribe it. Don't try to classify it. But otherwise, go ahead and do what you're already doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if when we're inbound and outbound number aware, and so like when we see those numbers, we actually do try to match on the contact side, and so we generally would know if it's a client conversation versus an internal conversation, those types of things, both content-wise as well as sort of metadata inbound
about the contact.
Caller ID wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Emily, is there anything else?
That's all the questions we have right now.
Okay. Super. Well, I appreciate everybody's participation here. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Sean. Really appreciate your participation here, and we'll share this recording out, yeah, you can share it around to other folks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you, Emily, for
Thanks for having
organizing
me.
this.
Thank you. Have
Thanks,
a good
Emily.
day. Okay. Bye-bye.